Hello everybody, this is Kate at the Library of Whispers, and today we are going to take a look at this library book, Insight Guides, all about England. There's some nice photography and different images in here which are quite nice. And this is my first soft-spoken voice video for quite a while, purely because my voice has been very, very gruff because I had tonsillitis and then a heavy cold, and now I'm better. So you might see some more soft-spoken voice videos appearing soon. Anyway, let's take a look at this. So I noticed before that there's actually a map, but I think I've got to take it out of this plastic cover to open it up. Yep. Let's open this up. This looks like the areas that they're covering, so let's go through these. There is the Lake District. This is Durham, Yorkshire and Northumbria. And here is Hadrian's Wall, along here. This is York. This is the northwest. The Peak District. This place is called Buxton. And here is Derby to the east coast. So this is Lincolnshire here. And here we have Hereford and the Welsh borders. Cotswolds and Shakespeare country, and here is Stratford upon Avon, and we have East Anglia, Cambridge, and here is the West Country, Exeter and Bath, or Bath if you're from the south. Here is the Thames Valley, Oxford, Cotswolds and Shakespeare country. Did I just say that? Might have just said that. Here is central London, Kensington and Chelsea, and the River Thames. Here is the southeast, Brighton, and Hampshire, Wiltshire and Dorset. England. Here is Wales. Here is Scotland. Here is Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, which has been sliced off the map. And here is the Isle of Man in the middle. So we'll pop this cover back into this plastic sleeve, turn the book around. Have a look at some of the pages. And this says the best of England, top attractions, Tower of London, Cornish beaches, the Eden Project, geodesic domes. This is in Cornwall. Stratford upon Avon, of course home of Shakespeare. Durham Cathedral, it's in the northeast. The Lake District, and this is York Minster actually. So York Minster here. Chatsworth House, Stonehenge in Wiltshire, Oxford. This is the Lake District. This represents Oxford. So this is the Best of England Editor's Choice. And they say the finest royal and stately homes, in their opinion, are Windsor Castle, Buckingham Palace, Hampton Court Palace, Surrey, Brighton Pavilion, Sandringham House, Alnwick Castle, Apley House, Blenheim Palace, Oxfordshire, Burley House, Lincolnshire, Castle Howard in Yorkshire. Enthralling museums: the Ashmolean in Oxford, the British Museum in London, the Merseyside Maritime Museum, National Media Museum Bradford, the National Motor Museum in Hampshire, National Railway Museum in York, and the Science Museum in London. And the top art galleries: the Baltic Centre for Contemporary Art in Gateshead, Barbara Hepworth Gallery, St Ives, the Constable Country in Suffolk, 1853 Gallery in Saltsmill, Saltaire, the Lowry, Salford, Manchester, National Gallery in London, the Tate Modern in London, and the Walker in Liverpool. And it says this is the River Eye in Gloucestershire. And this lovely picture of sand dunes is Camber Sands in Kent. I just remember this grass is very spiky. This lovely picture is Bamborough Castle in Northumberland. This very dramatic picture. Here are walkers on Scarfell Pike in the Lake District. So this is interesting. This is obviously for non-English people. It says the English character. Some see this restless island race as tolerant, charming and funny, I would hope so, while others find them aloof, insular and hypocritical. Depends who you're talking to. But what are the English really like? Should we read this? Will it offend people? Will it offend me? Let's find out. Summing up national character is fraught with difficulties. Seemingly, every generalisation can be written off as at best cliché and at worst ill-informed prejudice. Nevertheless, as the saying goes, there's a kernel of truth in every lie, and if you ask the English themselves what they're like, you'll find broad consensus on many features. A survey by a market research company found that the characteristics most popularly associated with Englishness by the English themselves were drinking tea, talking about the weather, yep, I'd agree with that one, queuing, very good at queuing, speaking English when abroad, keeping a stiff upper lip, and moaning. Well, moaning goes with the weather, I reckon. This may seem a trivial list and rather stereotypical, but most visitors who spend any length of time in the country will come to recognise quite a few of them. At the same time, visitors are often surprised by the variety they encounter on so small an island. Take a pin and put it down on a map of England, and you'll find a different experience each time. Different people, different houses, different scenery, different accents, different values and different views. Together they make up an astonishing island race, a character that is the sum of so many parts. This bit here is about English eccentrics. In English Eccentrics, poet Edith Sitwell, 1887 to 1964, said the English were prone to eccentricity because of that peculiar and satisfactory knowledge of infallibility that is the hallmark and the birthright of the British nation. The aristocracy has provided several eccentrics, such as the 8th Earl of Bridgewater, who organised banquets for dogs, or the 5th Earl of Portland, who preferred to live underground. Today's British eccentrics include comedian Russell Brand, who fashions himself as a silver-tongued fop, and the former Mayor of London, Boris Johnson, whose bumbling approach gets him out of scrapes that would sink other politicians. That's quite poignant at the moment. The contradictory English. Perhaps the heterogeneity of the English relates at least in part to their gift for ambiguity, or some might say hypocrisy. As a character in Alan Bennett's play, The Old Country, puts it, when we say we don't mean what we say, only then are we entirely serious. If that seems contradictory, there's more to come. The British continue to embrace marriage, yet their divorce rate is one of the highest in Europe. They laud family life, yet the traditional practice of the upper classes is to pack their children off to boarding school as soon as possible, and many feel they have no choice but to park their aged parents in old people's homes. They pride themselves on their solidarity in war, yet cling to a divisive class system in peacetime. They are also famed for their tolerance and sense of humour. Yet, as the writer Paul Gallico observed, no one can be as calculatedly rude as the British, which amazes Americans who do not understand studied insult and can only offer abuse as a substitute. Britain's nearest neighbours can be just as amused as Americans. André Maurois advised his fellow countrymen, in France it is rude to let a conversation drop, in England it is rash to keep it up. No one there will blame you for silence. When you have not opened your mouth for 3 years, they will think this Frenchman is a nice, quiet fellow. I think we have to take all that with a pinch of salt, really. Let's have a look. Accents. When in Pygmalion, later to be reborn as My Fair Lady, George Bernard Shaw set Professor Henry Higgins the task of passing off Eliza Doolittle, a common Cockney flower seller, as a duchess at an ambassador's dinner party. There was no question about Higgins' first priority. He had to change her accent. Then, as now, a person's origins, class as well as locality, could be identified by the way he or she speaks, and as Shaw wisely observed, it is impossible for an Englishman to open his mouth without making another Englishman despise or hate him. I think things have changed a lot since then, though. It is remarkable, given these social pressures, the small size of Britain, and the homogenising influence of television, that a vast variety of regional accents continue to flourish. Yet they do. Two Britons, one with a strong West Country accent and the other from Newcastle upon Tyne, might struggle to understand each other. With Asian and West Indian immigrants having added to the variety of speech patterns in Britain, consensus about what constitutes proper English speech has become even more elusive. That's probably because there isn't really any. Pity the manufacturers of digitised voice generators, who in Glasgow wants the cooker to inform them in a Surrey accent that their roast is ready, or what Oxfordshire driver wants his car to tell him in a Norfolk accent to fasten his seatbelt. The same unsatisfactory solution again presents itself, and machines embrace received pronunciation. I wonder who wrote this. That's a nice picture. This says Wat Tyler is beheaded as Richard II looks on. Oh, here. Must be Richard II. This is Wat Tyler. I think I might read these. Decisive dates. So, 500,000 BC. Boxgrove Man from West Sussex, the first known human in England. 2000 BC. Stonehenge erected. 700 BC. The Celts arrive from Central Europe. The Roman occupation. 55 BC to AD 410. 55 BC, Julius Caesar heads first Roman invasion. AD 61, rebellion of Boadicea, or Boudica, queen of the Iceni, is crushed. Anglo-Saxon and Danish kings 449 to 1066. 449 to 550, arrival of the Jutes, Angles and Saxons. 897, Alfred the Great, King of Wessex, defeats the Vikings. 980 to 1016, Viking invasions are renewed. The Normans, 1066 to 1154. 1066, conquest of England by William, Duke of Normandy. 1067, the Tower of London is begun. 1086, the Domesday Book and complete inventory of England is made. The Plantagenets, 1154 to 1399. 1154, just before lunchtime. It's a joke. Henry II becomes king. 1215. King John signs the Magna Carta at Runnymede. 1348 to 9. The Black Death kills between a third and half of the population. 1381. Peasants' revolt takes over London. The leader, Wat Tyler, who we saw in that picture, is beheaded at Tower Hill. 1387. Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales is published. The Houses of Lancaster and York, 1399 to 1485. 1455 to 85. Wars of the Roses between the competing houses of York and Lancaster. 1476. William Caxton sets up England's first printing press. The Tudors, 1485 to 1603. 1485. Henry VII is crowned king after defeating Richard III. 1497. John Cabot explores the North American coast. 1534. Henry VIII abolishes papal authority in England and becomes supreme head of the Church of England. 1536. Act of Union joins England and Wales. 1558. Elizabeth I begins her 45-year reign. 1580. Sir Francis Drake completes his circumnavigation of the world. 1588. The Spanish Armada is defeated. The Stuarts, 1603 to 1714. 1603. James VI of Scotland is crowned at James I of England. 1605. Guy Fawkes fails to blow up Parliament. 1620. The Pilgrim Fathers set sail for America. 1642 to 9. Civil war between Royalists and Republican Roundheads. The monarchists are defeated and Charles I is beheaded. 1666. The Great Fire of London. The House of Hanover, 1714 to 1836. 1714. George I of Hanover takes the British throne. 1721. Sir Robert Walpole becomes Britain's first Prime Minister. 1769. Captain Cook makes the first voyage to Australia. 1775. James Watt patents the first steam engine. 1805. Admiral Lord Nelson is killed at the Battle of Trafalgar. The Victorian Age, 1837 to 1901. 1837. Victoria becomes Queen at the age of 18. 1851. London hosts the Great Exhibition to show off advances in technology and industry. 1863. The first section of the London Underground Railway is built. 1876. The Queen becomes Empress of India. The Edwardian era and the Great War, 1901 to 18. 1912. The Titanic sinks. 1914 to 18. World War I. More than 1 million Britons and Allies die. House of Windsor, 1918 to present. 1919. Nancy Astor is Britain's first woman MP. So let's have a look through some of these things. Let's have a look at... Let's have a look at some of this history. The Magna Carta. King John is generally considered a bad king. He quarrelled with the Pope, upset the barons, and imposed high taxes. The barons presented him with a series of demands on behalf of the people, which became the Magna Carta, Great Charter, signed at Runnymede, near Windsor in 1215. Although history sees the Charter as a milestone, it brought no immediate solution. John's son, Henry III, proved little better, filling his court with foreign favourites and embarking on a disastrous war with France. The barons under Simon de Montfort rebelled, and in 1265 de Montfort summoned a parliament, which has been called the First House of Commons. Under Edward I, Henry's son, Wales, was conquered, and Edward's newborn son became Prince of Wales, a title held by the heir to the throne ever since. The War of the Roses. Scarcely had the 100 Years' War ended when aristocratic rivalries for the throne led to the Wars of the Roses. This name is a convenient shorthand for the battles between the House of York, symbolised by the white rose, and that of Lancaster, symbolised by the red. Henry IV deposed his cousin Richard II in 1399, and in so doing became the first member of the House of Lancaster to ascend the throne. Dynastic wars continued intermittently for much of the next century, reaching a particularly gruesome climax in 1483, when the 12-year-old Edward V and his brother Richard were apparently murdered in the Tower of London to make way for their uncle Richard III. Richard was subsequently killed in 1485 at the Battle of Bosworth in Leicestershire, where Shakespeare portrayed him as a hunchback, had him offering his kingdom for a horse. The Wars of Succession finally ended, though there were later attempts to rekindle them with the marriage of the Lancastrian Henry VII, 1485 to 1509, to Elizabeth of York. This united the opposing factions and put the country under the rule of the Tudors. So let's go a little bit further in. That's a nice picture. This is a night performance at the Magna Theatre, Cornwall. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Shakespeare. So let's have a little look at some places. This is all London. Let's have a look at somewhere slightly different. Where should we look? Let's have a look at Hampshire, Wiltshire and Dorset. The area's highlights include the splendid cathedrals of Salisbury and Winchester, the ancient stone circle of Stonehenge, Stourhead's stunning gardens, and some of the best beaches in England. This region of England offers plenty of variety, from the ports of Portsmouth and Southampton to the Isle of Wight to the cathedral city of Winchester and the megalithic remains of Stonehenge. The landscape ranges from the New Forest in the south to Salisbury Plain further north. It's a nice picture. While in the west are the country lanes, patchwork fields and rolling hills of Dorset. The tour described below is roughly circular, running anti-clockwise from Portsmouth all the way round to finish at Bournemouth. So, actually, is there a map here of... Yeah. So this is Dorset, Wiltshire, Hampshire. This is West Sussex, the Isle of Wight. And we have... Let me get my pointer. I'll point some places out. So this is, let's see, Bournemouth. And this is the South Downs. Waterlooville, Eastleigh, Basingstoke, South Downs National Park. This is Salisbury. So I'm thinking that my trusty magnifying glass might help you to see some of the places. If I can get it in the right there. Bring it higher. So we could have a look at some of the pictures, I think. So this here, this is the beach at Studland Bay. This is the medieval merchant's house in Southampton. Let's bring that down a bit. The magnifying glass. Does that make it any better? Yeah, a bit. And this one, this is inside Winchester Cathedral. And here is the HMS Victory at Portsmouth Dockyard. This picture is this is Burne-Jones' stained glass window in Winchester Cathedral. This one is This is the interior of Salisbury Cathedral. This picture, which is probably big enough, is a view of the Cobb Lyme Regis. It's a nice picture. This is a Durdle door, the Durdle door at Lulworth Cove. And this is Cove Castle. Anyway, I think we'll leave it there and return to this guide to England, maybe in another video. Thank you for popping by. This is Kate at the Library of Whispers saying I shall see you very soon.